What up? Happy Saturday. Good morning. I love you, Rodney. Yeah, today my head has been a motherfucking hamster wheel. It's just been spinning. Like every negative thought I could think of has been popping in my head. A lot of whys. Not really any whats. I'd love to get to that place where like nothing affects me too much. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe I think of some people like, man, how does nothing affect that person? And I don't think that's the case. I don't think there's a person out there where nothing affects them. But I think what it is the difference between them and me, or maybe this idea of them, is that it affects them for only a short period of time and then they move on, right? Not with indifference. I went through this series not too long ago of detachment, the Stoic approach to detachment, understanding what it meant, understanding that when I'm attached, I'm coming from a place of need, and when I detach, I'm loving myself, right? And when I'm coming from a place of abundance, I'm coming from a place of love. But the only way to get to abundance is to love myself enough to where I value myself high enough that I don't get too attached to anything. And I can get really attached to things, people specifically, but also things. Learning how to detach, if somebody does something, detaching from the situation, surrendering to it, accepting it, and then surrendering to it, and then having faith that no matter what, everything's going to work out. It may not work out the way I want it to work out, but it's going to work out the way I need it to work out, because if I trust in a power greater than myself, if I trust in God, He's working on the sidelines to make it work out exactly the way it's supposed to work out. As long as I stay clean, sober, and and this isn't like for the person that can successfully get loaded with whatever that looks like. Somebody who goes out socially and has drinks with their friends, and then they leave, and the rest of the night is like they watch some TV, maybe eat some food and go to bed. That wasn't my story. That was the before party for me. And the party was the aftermath of just, chaos. All of a sudden now it's like fucking mayhem. So as long as I don't go to that place and I practice these things, I'll feel a lot better. I think I wanted to log back on here or chime back in here because of the hamster wheel. I woke up and I was like, I'm not going to stay in bed until I have to go to work and just stare at the ceiling. I'm gonna detach from that because I love myself, so I'll go into the gym. But with each fucking rep, the hamster wheel's spinning. And as I let it continue to spin, all of a sudden anger and resentment and negative thoughts, like I should have said this instead, start pumping out. Somebody said some wild ass shit last week, and and then all of a sudden I'm thinking, fuck man, I should have said this, I should have said that. And I had like an arsenal of things I could say to hurt that person, or at least what I think would hurt that person. And it's just like feeding and feeding, and it's spinning and it's spinning. And then I get in my car and I ask myself, now, why do you want to say that so bad? Why do you feel like you needed to say that so bad? Was it to defend yourself? Was it to defend the other person? Or was it because of things to come? Like, would you even be thinking this if the things to come weren't going to come, weren't going to happen. And then I started feeling sorry for myself. So I'm like, well, what if this happened instead? Like, would they like that? And that's not the way I'm training myself to be. So then I get in the car and I'm like, why can't I just be like some people where they just detach? Where they're just like, oh, well, okay, whatever. And they just, like you can hear it in my voice. I'm upset with something that I'm not going to share about. I don't feel the need to share the actual inventory of it. So working through it on my side of the street, what can I do? Well, I can acknowledge that I feel a certain way. I feel sad about it, a little, confused with it, and but at the same time, it's out of my control. It's a decision that's made, so it's out of my control. So instead of all that, maybe just saying, hey, this doesn't change how this person feels about you. It doesn't change what's already happened, which is wonderful. And you're technically not getting your way. And maybe if I dig deeper into that, then I can start detaching correctly. It's about detaching correctly and not detaching with resentment and anger and saying, well, I'm like, seriously? You would go after that was said? But what I need to do is not even go there. I had a friend call me yesterday, and the advice I gave them is like, why don't we focus on our side of the street? And not too much on other people's sides of the street. And then maybe, just maybe, I can detach properly. Detaching doesn't mean throwing away or coming out indifferent. It just means separation from that particular situation. Right? It means having the strength to say, okay, acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. It's not necessarily that I have to like what I'm accepting, but acceptance gives me the ability to detach correctly from a situation, place, or person, because I love myself enough to not want to feel ill or ick. So, yeah, that's my lesson of the day. I love you, Rodney. You got this.